Hello, we are live. I'm Amanda Call, and I'm working on a comic page. We've been working on this for several streams at this point. I'm going to get it as close to done as I possibly can on this one, though. So this is from my webcomic, Age of Night. This is chapter 25, page 12, and over the course of the last several streams, I've gotten the whole thing drawn and lettered and a lot of the inking done, and now I'm going to try to get it at least mostly finished during this stream. So I've got my Royal Talons ink. And my Crowquill. And I'm going to continue working on this panel down here, doing some of the pen and ink inking. I've got a little bit of that left to do down here. Like Drake's little kitty face here, which looks a little silly at this stage because he's a black cat, so some of those details need a little bit of definition before I ink him all in with a big black blob. Hello, Hungry! Thanks for joining me. And we need some texture on these rocks now that I have them outlined. Rock texture. Lots of little scumble marks. I'm trying to use that texture to provide a little bit more definition to the rock. So it looks like it actually has a shape to it and is not just a blob. And we need a little shadow under Drake that he's casting on the rock. And I just realized that I'm missing one under Kamario's foot there. Whoops. See, I got all the other rocks in the stream done. The nib stuff left to do, it looks like. Look at this bit of grass. Outline this rock. Whoop. My bottle is running very low, so I don't get as much of a load each time as I would like. I just ordered some more today. I should have probably done it sooner, but I just kept forgetting. So, hopefully it comes quickly. Hopefully USPS doesn't, like, eat it. I don't know. They're still having some delays. I ordered a package of shirts a little while ago, and they took 3 weeks to show up. I was like, what the heck? Where did they go? I check on the shipping information. It's just processing. We have them. They're in transit somewhere. But where, though? Somewhere. And there's that rock. And got a little one next to it. Couple little rocks on the shore here. I'm going to move this line because I don't like how this line lines directly up with this corner of this rock. That's a tangent. That's a nasty tangent. I don't like that. So I'm going to move it down here so that that's not a thing anymore. Yeah, there's still a lot of supply chain issues, and there's going to continue to be. It's been a big problem with like the indie RPG and board game industry lately is that a lot of our stuff is stuck in China because there's no shipping containers. And so the prices on the shipping containers have like tripled. Which, when you're talking about a fee that was already like thousands of dollars, basically becomes impossible for a small publisher. So there's at least one project that I'm on right now where we're like, so we're hopefully going to do it this year, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we just won't because we don't know if we can get our stuff over to this side of the world. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I bet. It's like when something is out of stock, it's just like, when can we get it back? No one knows. No one knows. No one can tell you. People would like to be able to tell you, but they can't. All right, there's that little beachy area there. Most of those shrubs, I think I'm going to do brush. So I'm going to do my little grasses here and this rock. And I think that's going to pretty much do it for the nib. Oh, I got a couple little details to pick out on fell there. That's about it. Get the little clasps on the front of his tunic there, and I think that's going to do it. And you can just sort of see the very tip of his other sword there. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to a brush. So I'm going to clean this out real quick with just a little bit of water and my very well-used paper towel. So now I'm also going to switch over to a different ink. I'm going to be using the Winsor & Newton India ink, which I like this one for brush a lot better. And the Royal Talons I prefer for the pens. And I got my brush stroke grass blades bottom to top. I find it easier. I know some people like to start. Ooh, that's looking fuzzy. Hold on. I know when doing that kind of motion, people like to start with it being lighter and then increase pressure to start with like a smaller stroke and then make it wider as you increase pressure. I always found it easier to start with it heavier, like start with the broader stroke and then pick up and like flick away and make it tinier. You can do it either way. I think I was officially taught to do it by starting with less pressure and going to more, but I never could get the hang of that. I always liked going from the broader stroke to it being lighter. So that's just kind of a personal preference thing. All right, got my brush loaded up. And now we're going to start working up in the corner here. I'm going to start filling in. This is a little tree back here. Try not to get the texture too heavy because it is still the middle of the day. So I don't want it to get too dark. But you still want to see that it's a tree. There are leaves. There, little edge of a tree there. Start filling in some of Drake's fur here. Try not to completely run over the lines that I tried to carve out earlier with the pen to help provide definition. Very delicately fill in all this black space around all his features. Get a better angle for some of this. And there's Drake being sassy. I'm gonna get Belle's sword in here. I think my brush is a little overloaded. I think I have just a little bit too much ink in there. Feels a little overloaded. That's a little better. Needed that little bit of hair so that I could get the line of where the black needed to end to fill in there. But I can go ahead and do the rest of that. Get the side of his face here so that I have an edge for the hair over there. And I want to leave a fair amount of space that's not totally black in his hair texture because his hair is not black. There we go. Exasperated expression. Fell is extremely exasperated, which is a fun expression to draw. I'm just like, oh my goodness, this again. Now the beard. The beard is its own whole entire texture experience here. scarf. Hungry says his favorite expression is exhaustion mixed with derision. That's a good one. Whenever I start brush inking, the first panel always takes me the longest, even if it's a simple panel, just because I'm getting warmed up, basically. And then I slowly get, like, faster as I work into a groove. But this first one always takes a while because I'm, like, trying to remind my hand how this is supposed to work. Here's pack. Hello, thank you. Yeah. It's like it takes a while to slowly build up a head of steam, like I'm some cranky old engine of some sort. Pack strap over there. We're gonna say it is. All right. So now the brush inking is done on the first panel, and we are 24 minutes into the stream. So I did do a little bit of nib work first, but that panel was extremely simple and took a while. And of course, this one is all itsy bitsy figures, so that's going to be fun. Let's get our happy little void staring off the cliff. Leave a little gap between those legs there so that you can see that they are, in fact, two different legs and not one big, thick leg. There we go. All right, we start back here. All right, I'll try not to get my big old head in frame, but I can't make any promises. I may very well accidentally get my head in frame a little. I try to very carefully do these tiny little figures that I didn't do with pen for some reason. I'm now not entirely sure what that reason was. Figures this size are like right on the line between what I usually do with brush and what I usually do with a pen. It's like they're kind of big for doing with a pen, but they're kind of small for doing with a brush. Of Kamaria's hair. Whoop. Okay. There's that one done anyway. Thanks. It has taken me a very, very long time to get to this point. And drawing's like the only thing I'm good at, so. I'm going to do Fell first because he's standing in front of Wen, and so he's kind of like his arm is kind of cutting into her. So I'd rather know exactly where that line of his arm is rather than kind of guessing at where to end all the lines on her. Go. His face was looking kind of pinched. To finish one chapter. So each chapter is somewhere between 20 and 30 pages, and I post about 1 page a week. It doesn't necessarily mean that's how long it's taking me to get them actually done. So sometimes I have like a nice little buffer built up, and I've gotten a few of them done in a week. But on average, you're looking at 1 page a week because this isn't like the thing I spend all my time doing. So that equates to roughly 4 to 6 months, depending, which is a ridiculously slow pace. But that's because this project is like my personal side project, which I have to balance like my other freelance work and all of my regular life responsibilities and everything with working on this. So I do a lot of other freelance illustration work for other people that gets published a bunch of different places and generally pays better than working on this does. So yeah, a long time. And I would like to get through them faster, but life doesn't really allow that at the moment. Each individual page takes me about somewhere between 4 and 6 hours to work on. So like there's a couple of previous streams I have where it's over the course of entire way through. So I filmed the whole thing of drawing and lettering and everything. This is one of them. I think I won't quite finish it on this stream, but this has been a total of 5 streams. So this page will have taken a little more than 5 hours. Obviously, 5 hours a week is not a long time to work. So like I said, I'm doing a lot of other, and this is just kind of like my personal side project that I just try to keep up with. A little furry texture on the top of Phil's boots there. Okay, so that's a lot of ink. That's way too much ink on my brush. Hone that point down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So since I just inked Thel, and he's probably still a little bit tacky because it's quite humid today, I'm actually going to jump over here and work on this little shrub before I go back and do Wen, because I don't want to be dragging my hand through what I just did. Sometimes you have to jump around the page a little bit to avoid wet ink spots, which is why I generally try to work from the upper left corner down into okay. There's my. I'm gonna come back up and work on getting Wen done. Wen looking very uncertain about this situation. That's kind of her default expression of like, I don't like this. I don't know about this. There's her little kit on her bag. And her robes, always try to get some nice flowiness going on there. All right, and that's that panel. Doing pretty decent on time. 37 minutes? Okay, yeah, we're making some progress. All right, I'm gonna start with this shrub over here. My arm makes rude noises scooting along the edge of my desk. Goodness. Yeah, this figure, not that much bigger than this figure. Way more comfortable to ink. You know what? Usually not mid-inking. While I'm in the middle of inking, the question was, if anyone's watching this without comments later, do you ever want to change a page layout mid-inking? Usually not mid-inking because while I'm in the middle of inking, I'm just thinking, like, I'm just focusing on this particular task. What'll happen sometimes though is I'll go back and read a page like a long time later, and then I'll be like, why did I do that? Be like, what was this page layout decision? Why did I choose that? I do sometimes think like, oh, I wish I could change that, but it's usually not during this stage because on this stage I'm just very focused on trying to execute what I already have started here. And I'm not really thinking about that part of the process anymore. That's not where my focus is. Um, but yeah, definitely later. There we go. There's Kumaria back there. Get some of these other shrubs. All the different shrubs. Oh, I can tell I'm running low on ink on that load. Not back down again. Last little shrub before I work on Wen's figure. Here we go. Now when looking surprised because she's been nabbed by a pricker bush. All the little folds of fabric and the strap of her pack and all this other stuff all jammed into that little space and trying not to let it turn into a mess. And the long sash on her robe. Fabric getting snagged. Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks for joining. All of the fabric. I bumped into my desk and the whole thing was shaking. Come on now. Let's not break the whole house. Okay, so that's all of when, and now I've got some more shrubs to do over here. More shrubs. So we're getting pretty close to the end of an hour. I usually only do these for about an hour, because after that, it's a good time to take a break, get a drink of water, get up and stretch. I should do that. You should do that too. This is your comic mom telling you to go take care of yourself at the end of the stream. So I won't quite get this one done on the stream, but we will be pretty close. Try not to get too much leafy texture in here so that it's not like competing for Wen's figure there in the middle. Not get too busy and make it too distracting. Leaves. Leaves, leaves, leaves. All right, that's going to be that panel. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can get this panel done in the last 10 minutes here. And then at least we will have gotten through most of it on the stream. Ooh, that's... Come on now, cooperate. All right, and we get to ink Kamaria's hair, which is always fun. All right, so where are we at? We're at 51 minutes, so we're working on this last panel. That means it's time to do the YouTube things and remind you that I'm Amanda Call. This is a page from my webcomic, Age of Night, which you can find online at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. I upload a new page every Wednesday, and the whole thing is available to read for free. However, if you really like it and decide you want to help support me making comics, I do have a Patreon. So that's patreon.com/Age of Night. Patrons all get to see the pages a week in advance. So this page will actually, I'll finish it up tonight after the stream, and they will get to see it finished tomorrow. And then it'll be posted on the website for the public the following week. Patrons also get like free comics and other behind the scenes stuff, and it's pretty cool, and I appreciate it. Helps me out. I do also sell copies of the first 3 volumes of the book, so we're up to page 25 online, but the first 3 volumes are like the very beginning to chapter 21. So each volume is 7 chapters. And the print versions of it, the collected books of it, have like bonus material. To make it kind of like a thank you for buying copies of it. And you can get those digitally on the One Bookshelf platforms. So that's DriveThruRPG, DriveThruFiction, and DriveThruComics. You can also get ebook versions and physical versions on the big website where you can get everything. You know the one. What else? Oh yeah, if you like this video, you should definitely like it. Consider subscribing to my channel. I do these live streams every week on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I also do other like pre-recorded and edited videos about different aspects of making art. Sometimes just talking about different stuff involving making art. Time lapses of different art being made. All sorts of fun stuff like that. And what else? Oh yeah, other social media. So you can also find me on Twitter at Age of Night and on Instagram at Amanda Call Art. And Age of Night also has a Facebook page. So options. You got no events coming up is the other thing I normally talk about on my streams. I say normally, although I haven't really had events to talk about other than the occasional online event for a long time now. What are we at on time? We got like 4 minutes left. Can I finish this panel? I don't know if I can. Well, all right. There's her pendant in there, which I normally do with nib, and I didn't for some reason. And her knee where she's kind of crouched down. But then all of this is kind of in shadow. So we're just gonna do one of these. More of her really fun to ink hair. And I think we're gonna just make it 58 minutes, 30 seconds. Can I make it in under an hour and finish this panel? I think I've got it. Well, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out and leaving comments and asking questions. I super appreciate it. And I think that's going to do it for tonight. I will finish the last 2 panels later this evening. So thank you everyone for coming and hanging out, and I will see you next time. Bye.